Broadcasting to you from the heart of northern Minnesota, this is the best fucking podcast for music. Best music-oriented podcast and web series, as I meant to say. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Roger Radio, and this is the Roger Radio Show.
And I'm Aegis down Levity of the Interband Group.
Or as we call him, the second coming of Frank Zappa. It's another beautiful weekend. I'm ready to drink, fuck, get high, whatever you know.
And commit a murder.
Nah, probably not.
This is probably not. So there's a possibility.
Yeah. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we got a very good podcast for you tonight because after many months of me doing a couple of solo podcasts talking about this, we have finally gone to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and that's what we are going to cover. But before we get into that, the question of the podcast obviously will be, in your opinion, who should be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Want to know my answer to that?
What?
Me.
Come on, dude. No, be serious. So what's your fucking answer?
Casey Crescenzo of the Deer Hunter.
Not the Deer Hunter?
No, Casey Crescenzo of the Deer Hunter. He's the band leader.
Well, yeah, I could understand that, but you don't want the whole band to be inducted?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'd want the whole band to be inducted. Yeah.
I was like, dude, don't single out one person, man. I thought it was supposed to be about the whole band, not about one fucking guy. Unfortunately, that's what they did with Steve Miller. They inducted Steve Miller into the Hall of Fame, but they never inducted everyone who was part of his band.
Excuse me.
For me...
Yeah, so I'd say the Deer Hunter.
Yeah, for me, I'd say Iron Maiden. It's been way too fucking long, man. They've been long overdue. And obviously that it has always been like so many controversies and criticisms about the Hall of Fame that they are not selecting certain bands who should be in the Hall of Fame. But that's like a whole other story that we'll get into at some point later on. But obviously, Aegis and I, we have watched the Hall of Fame, and I'm just kind of shocked at how very fucking dumbed down the performances have gone, because they've been having bands. There have been some of the bands who were inducted who are part of this induction class who did perform, but then there was some of them who fucking didn't. And I think it's just so randomly fucking dumb that it happened. I mean, what were your thoughts about the whole thing?
I thought it was all right. It was much better than the Grammys and the fucking AMAs.
Or even the MTV VMAs too.
That's what I meant. The AMAs were fine. It was the MTV VMAs I didn't like. The AMAs were perfectly fine how they were. They had good music, good performances, good,
Yeah. I mean, it's the
the
one thing is
VMAs
like...
sucked and the Grammys sucked.
Yeah, I mean, it's the one thing about this is that I was already looking at some of these people, and for some of these bands and musicians, it was way fucking overdue for them, especially for some of these people that we will get into right here. But what I want to try and do for this podcast today is to try and go completely in chronological order of everything we saw, and if we get to like one band or musician who did get inducted, I will read a synopsis. I have the website to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here. I will include the link to this in the description below, so I'll encourage you to check it out. I just need to quickly look up a couple more things that I may need. Let me see here. Okay. We are cooking now. Okay, that was the one guy whose last name I needed to write down. Let me write that down quick. That way I don't forget. But what can I say about these? For some of these bands, for some of these people who were inducted in the Hall of Fame, they've had like a highlight reel for every single of these performers and everyone else who got inducted. And they did like just a complete history reminder of everything they accomplished and why they why they deserve to be inducted, to be part of this rightful Hall of Fame, and why they deserve to be part of that upper echelon of some of the all-time greats, mainly because not only were they good performers, but they set the groundwork for generations to come. Which,
Yes.
in the case of 2 to 3 of them, they were very impactful. I can't remember who was performing, who opened the show off, but there was a performance. I cannot for the life of me remember it, honestly. There is no
Me neither.
Wikipedia page, so I'm gonna be fucking thrown off, obviously. Um, and I don't think there's a link to who performed at the Hall of Fame. And so we're just gonna try our best with what we can right here. Obviously, they started with a performance. Like I said, I can't remember. I actually could not tell if it was just a trailer or like opening credits stuff, you know. But it officially starts with Mick Fleetwood, one of the co-founders of Fleetwood Mac, and he was chosen to induct Bad Company into the Hall of Fame.
Yep, and they were a supergroup, correct?
Yep, who we covered in our podcast episode about supergroups. It comprised. Yep, I'm looking at it right now. They were inducted as the performers, inducted by Mick Fleetwood. Mick Fleetwood stated in his speech that he talked about how Paul Rogers, the lead singer, cited Fleetwood Mac as inspiration, especially when they were kind of somewhat called Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. That was what their original name was. And then they played a highlight reel to highlight some of the stuff that they did. They had many people speak to them, speak on camera. Not only did they include Paul Rogers, Simon Kirke, and some archival footage by Mick Ralphs, they also had Joe Elliott of Def Leppard and Slash of Guns N' Roses and Joe Perry of Aerosmith speaking. I'm going to read some of these articles right here of everything that happened here. Okay, here's what it states. With members from Mott the Hoople, King Crimson, and Free, it would be Mick Ralphs of Mott the Hoople, your guy, Boz Burrell of King
Bas
Crimson,
Burrell. Yep.
yep, and Paul Rogers and Simon Kirke of Free, and then signed to Led Zeppelin's Swan Song imprint, their record label, and who was also their producer was Peter Grant, who also managed, was the manager for Led Zeppelin. Bad Company were one of rock's first and most successful supergroups, both live and on record. By combining arena-ready blues rock swagger with top 40 hits, they distinguished themselves from their peers. The foursome's straightforward, no-frills approach inspired rockers to embrace melody over bombast, songs over jams, tight, short solos, and unforgettable choruses. Here is a quote that Joe Perry said. Bad Company's stuff sticks to your ribs. You hum along to not just the song, but the solos. The band all had one vision and it worked together. The only thing about that is it only worked for a while. And then when they released their album Rough Diamonds in 1982, that marked the end of the original lineup. Yeah, and in my opinion, that should have been their last album.
Yeah.
Rough Diamond should have been their last album they ever made, and that is an album that we will review in the future. But yeah, what were your thoughts about Bad Company?
Honestly, I nothing. It wasn't bad, but I thought it was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not something I'm gonna go out of my way to listen to again, but I enjoyed listening to them.
yeah. It's the one thing about it is like they had Boz. And how is it that they get a guy who was from a progressive rock band to be part of this hard hitting sound?
I know there are so many artists from King Crimson over the years that many of them have gone on to do other things that weren't even prog.
Yeah, I was trying to see. I can't remember actually. Was Greg like in Boz Burrell and King Crimson at the same time?
I don't think so.
I want to take a look at that right now because for some reason I just feel like they would kind of be, at least in the earlier days. If my shit will even load though. There we go. Alrighty, let's take a look here. Band members. Let's see here. Greg Lake from 1968 to 1970, and Boz Burrell from 71, 72. So yeah, they were not in King Crimson at the same time.
All right, that's what I thought.
I honestly thought they would kind of be, you know.
Yeah. Did
Um,
Emerson, Lake, and Palmer ever get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I don't think so. I want to take a look.
Because I know my two main inspirations are in the Hall of Fame. Dave Boy and Frank Zappa.
Yeah, and I was surprised that even Frank Zappa was inducted, to be honest with you.
I was too. I honestly wasn't expecting him to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but there he was.
Yep. Um, Let me see if I can look at this better. Let's see here. Yep, as of right now, Emerson, Lake, and Palmer are still not in the Hall of Fame.
Damn.
Yeah,
It's
right?
always next year.
Yep, without a doubt.
If I had any say, they would be in the fucking Hall of Fame.
No, without a doubt, yeah, man. So obviously, they did do some tribute songs. Obviously, it was Simon Kirk did do the drumming during the show, the performance that they did for Bad Company songs. He was joined by Brian Adams, Joe Perry, Nancy Wilson, and Chris Robinson. They obviously did their two biggest hits, Feel Like Making Love, which is one of the most fucking annoying, overplayed songs on goddamn classic radio. And then I Can't Get Enough of Your Love. Oh, and then when Mick Fleetwood presents the award to Simon Kirk, he said, and I quote, from one drummer to another.
Yeah.
Yep. Paul Rogers wasn't able to attend because of some personal health issues, but he did leave a video that they played at the ceremony. Simon did do that. He also gave a shout out to Boz and Mick, who have both passed on. Boz Burrell in 2006, and Mick Rouse just recently after they announced that they would be inducted. So Simon was the only one who attended, which was very unfortunate, you know, but it's very
Yeah.
nice to see that they have finally made it in. Even Joe Perry even said it best that they've been going for 50 years and they should have been put in the Hall of Fame sooner.
That's a fair point.
Yep.
All right. What came after Bad Company?
Okay, let me take a look quick. It was Salt and Pepper was who was next. And they ended
And
up
so
getting, and they were basically inducted for their musical influence, for being influential because they were among the first female hip hop artists to even ever exist. They were inducted by Missy Elliott, who cites them as her inspiration. Here's what the website says. As the first major all female rap group to go both gold and platinum, and the first to win a Grammy, Salt-N-Pepa changed the male dominated game. Remember, it was the all the male hip hop artists that were dominating the rap industry at the time. With a unique, flamboyant style and outspoken, feminine centric messages all woven into an edgy yet accessible hip hop slash R&B blend, they redefined women's roles in rap, unafraid of touchy issues like AIDS, safe sex, and female sexual desire. They set a template for countless future rappers. This is what Missy Elliott was quoted to have said. They had the records, but they also made us want to dress like them. They also danced, and were the reason that I got into rapping.
So I have nothing against their music at all. My only question is, why is a rap slash hip hop group being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? That's the one
Dude,
thing I don't understand. I have
that's what
nothing against the music at all. It's just, you know,
yeah, that's what Gene Simmons of Kiss asked.
yeah. And they're not the only ones. There's another group later that is rap slash hip hop that got inducted.
Yeah, NWA's in the Hall of Fame right now. They got inducted
Really.
in 2015.
Hmm. Once again, nothing against their music. It's just as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, not the hip hop or rap Hall of Fame, you know?
Yeah. In the highlight reel, one of them was quoted to have said that they were the female version of DMC, which was another rap group from back in the day.
Yeah.
They had many people in the highlight reel who spoke, including MC Light, Daryl MC McDaniels, Cheryl Salt James, Chili, Ice T, Queen Latifah, Sandra Peppa Denton, and Deidre Spinderella Roper. Now it was Cheryl James, Sandra Denton, and Deidre Roper who were the lineup for Salt-N-Pepa. I mean, Salt and Peppa was their nicknames. They were the musicians, the performers, and Spinderella was their DJ who was doing the mixes for them.
Yeah.
They did perform with another group that's named En Vogue, I believe is what it's pronounced. They obviously did their song
Yep.
Shoot Bad Dupe. And I am surprised that Deadpool did not go out there to start jamming to them because apparently he
Hmm.
loves Shoot Bad Dupe. Then they also had Let's Talk About Sex. And was it just me or was I just starting to look like this? Like, and then of course they did another song called What a Man, which they did with En Vogue. And then Push It Good, which was also on an episode of My Name is Earl. So that's actually how I first heard them. It wasn't Shoot Bad Dupe. It was a Push It Good, which was on a fucking episode of My Name is Earl, which is one of my favorite TV shows. And and honestly, dude, when they did their acceptance speeches, dude, it was, I thought the speech was very strong, dude.
Yep.
You know, because they gave a strong speech about how they were dealing with being suppressed by the streaming industry, by the streaming services and all the
For being
musical,
female.
and who they called the
Yeah.
music tyrants. You know, the producers and the executives at these record labels, they were deemed tyrants. All three of them did attend, and Spinderella even had to point out that she is the first female DJ to be inducted. So I think that's pretty cool, you
Good for
know.
her. Good for her.
What do you have anything else that you want to say about Salt-N-Pepa quick?
Oh, I thought their music was good. It's not something I go back and listen to because I'm not really much of a rap hip hop guy, but I thought for what they were doing pretty good. Just once again, it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Should be all rock music. Nothing
Uh,
against their music, once again.
yeah.
But,
Otherwise, if yeah, otherwise to now bring it to your point, if they're going to include any other musicians and bands that are from other genres, they might as well just change it from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to the Music Hall of Fame.
Exactly. That's a good point. I like that.
Yeah. Otherwise,
Or
they
the
could,
mostly rock and roll Hall of Fame.
yeah, no question about it. All right. Next up to be inducted is Nicky Hopkins, who was awarded the Musical Excellence Award. Obviously, it was some of these side awards, like it was the performers who got inducted by other people, but these other categories they got in their highlight reels too, so that's pretty good. All right, here in the highlight reel, it was Mick Jagger and Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones who were on that highlight reel because Nicky Hopkins actually did do a lot of the piano work for the Rolling Stones, and also Peter Frampton also spoke about him too. Here's what it states. Classically trained session pianist Nicky Hopkins brought his musical ingenuity, impeccable taste, and feel to over 250 albums. And it's including but not limited to classics from the Rolling Stones, The Who, The Kinks, The Beatles, and Joe Cocker. And shit, I can't remember if he worked with Frank Zappa too. I can't remember,
Pretty
being
sure he
honest.
did on his album Chunga's Revenge. I'm checking right now.
Yeah, take a look for me.
Personnel. Uh, because I know uh, one of the inductees did help with Frank Zappa's album Chunga's Revenge, but it doesn't look like it was him.
Okay. All right. Okay, so it continues on to say, equipped both technically and personally to work in any idiom, blues, rock, psychedelia, soul, he added texture and emotional depth to hundreds of songs, broadening the palette of rock and roll and influential generations of keyboardists. This here is what Steve Miller said. He was the guy who basically set the tone. It felt so good and it sounded so good, you couldn't help but love what he did. And it's even showing some of the albums that he did too. There'll be like too many of these for me to read. So, what was your thoughts?
Oh, Nicky Hopkins?
Yeah,
I Not my favorite pianist, but still a damn good pianist.
yeah,
My favorite living pianist is probably going to be Mike Garson. He's a very interesting fella. He worked with David Bowie a lot, and he has a very unique style.
yeah. Didn't he ever work with? Oh wait, Frank Zappa didn't incorporate any keyboards in his music, did he?
Some of them he did. I'm pretty sure Nicky Hopkins did help out with Chunga's Revenge. It just doesn't say.
Yeah. What about the other guy you were talking about? Did he ever work with Zappa?
Which guy?
The guy you were talking about, the living
Oh,
keyboardist.
Mike Garson?
Yeah.
No, no. He's the only person I listen to that he's worked with is David Bowie. It's a very interesting style.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So Nicky Hopkins was a highly regarded session pianist who collaborated with many rock legends, all but did not play on Frank Zappa's album Chunga's Revenge. I swear it said he did play with Zappa and Chunga's Revenge on the fucking uh Hall of Fame inductees. That's weird. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look quick in case. So let's see. Yeah, it doesn't look like he did. It does not look like he did at all. So, all right. So let's continue on here. The next person to be inducted was Warren Zevon on in the performers category. He was inducted by David Letterman, man, who was a very close friend of his. Um,
Wasn't Warren Zevon close with shit, now I can't remember his name. Fuck, he did the song Short People Got No Reason to Live.
I don't fucking know.
Randy Newman, Randy Newman.
Oh yeah, he did. He did. Did I think if I remember correctly, he did, or I think it might have been someone else. I'm sure we'll get to it when we do get to it. So,
Yeah.
all right. In the highlight reel, it was Bruce Springsteen, Don Henley, Jackson Brown, Waddy Watchell, and Jorge Calderon who spoke about him, and they did have some good points about him too. Here's what it says for Warren Zevon. Warren Zevon was a songwriter, revered for the gallows humor, acid wit, and candid tenderness of his lyrics. A classically trained pianist and skilled guitarist, he wrote jingles, pop ditties, and masterpieces. His songs, covered by a wide array of esteemed artists, encompassed the rock and roll, country, folk, and blues. So he basically did a whole lot of different genres, which is very impressive. Critically acclaimed, he counted among his fans Bob Dylan and Bruce Springsteen, and he expanded the boundaries of American popular song. Here's a quote from David Crosby. He was and remains one of my favorite songwriters. He saw things with a jaundiced eye that still got the humanity of things. He also kind of took into consideration the humanity of himself because from what I saw, Warren Zevon, according to David Letterman, battled a whole lot of demons in his whole life, including alcohol and substance abuse too. And then David Letterman, I remember, even spoke about when he first learned that he was diagnosed with cancer. They even, when they were about to do his like tribute songs, David Letterman presented his guitar right there on the stage, which I think Letterman said that Zevon gave to him. And he said, "This is the same guitar he gave me. After 20 years, it's finally ready to come out of retirement to be performed."
Yeah.
And it was the Killers with Ronnie Rondell who performed "I'm Down on My Luck," which I thought was a good tribute by the Killers. I think the Killers, cited him as one of their inspirations, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
All right, I'm gonna use the bathroom quick. I'll be right back.
You go right ahead, dude. All right, so before we continue on, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe. Subscribe to the Roger Radio Show. Follow me on my social media. Subscribe to El Gallo Productions. Subscribe to the Interrobang Group, and subscribe to all of them, and you will get yourself a free discount to I don't know what kind of discount, but let's just say that the website will not send you anywhere. It'll just be probably the dark web or whatever. Who fucking knows?
You could give Roger one free blowjob.
Or however it goes. So, I don't know, man.
All right.
Next up we got is Tom Bell. And I'll be honest with you, I thought that was Marvin Gaye. And he was inducted for musical excellence. In the highlight reel, Questlove, Daryl Hall, Jimmy Jam, Boys II Men, Henry Fambrough, Kenny Gamble, Wilbert Hart, Elton John, and Sean Stockman of Boys II Men all spoke about him as inspirations. Here's what the website says about him. Jamaican-born, Philadelphia raised producer, arranger, and songwriter Tom Bell was a key architect of the Philly sound, is what it was called. Alongside songwriters Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, he broadened the possibilities of R&B using his classical training. He crafted lush orchestral arrangements and inventive vocals and rhythms for his songs, resulting in hits from seminal groups like the Spinners, the Delphonics, and the Stylistics. His legacy can be heard in disco, modern R&B, and you're not going to believe this, hip hop.
Hmm.
Leon Huff was quoted to have said, Tom Bell was my favorite musician, arranger, songwriter, and music producer of all time. It was my esteemed honor and pleasure to work with him. What were your thoughts?
I don't really remember that part very well,
Yeah,
but
that's
I don't know. He did do some soul music, and a lot of good rock and roll does have is rooted in soul music.
yeah, without a doubt. Like, it's
Yeah,
the
I
one thing about it is like rock and roll was born out of that soul type of music, blues
yeah.
music, jazz music, you name it. And then you have all the motherfuckers overseas who ended up taking it to the next level. They dragged it kicking and screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, we had music from Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
Here is the next lineup here. Just seeing how much there is left here. Yeah, I think it'll probably be like a short podcast. I don't know if we'll need a break, honestly.
Yeah, you were saying it was going to be longer, but
Yeah, well,
yeah,
remember the ceremony was about 4.5 fucking hours, but we're just going through this quick, so we
yeah.
probably won't need a break at all. So I say let's just keep going and see where it takes us. I probably will need to get
Okay.
a beer in a little bit. So, okay. The next ones to be inducted are the White Stripes. They were inducted by Iggy Pop, not Iggy Azalea, Iggy Pop.
Iggy Pop. I love Iggy Pop. He's a really cool guy. He worked with
Right?
David Bowie a lot. That's the main reason I know who Iggy Pop is.
Oh,
It's
he
because he
did
worked
work
with
with
David
him?
Bowie.
No
Oh
shit,
yeah.
huh?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
They
that's
were good
what's up.
friends. They were good friends.
Okay, I hear you, man. I hear you. In the highlight reel, and Jack White was there at the ceremony, and yeah, it did look like he did gain a little bit of weight, but he still looked pretty good for his age. I wonder
Yeah.
how old is he now? I can't honestly remember if he did at one point go to like doing like Americana music or something like that. Oh, he's only 50 years old. Holy shit. He's very young still,
Uh-huh.
man. Oh yeah, he did his own solo work, and then there was the albums with White Stripes, the Raconteurs I didn't know he was with, and then also the Dead Weather.
Yeah, he was saying when he was being inducted, the guy he was saying like he had done so many projects, and it was just the first one he did that really stuck,
Yeah,
that people really related to.
absolutely. And now that you bring that up, here's what it says. The White Stripes reinvigorated rock and roll by returning it to its primal blues roots, providing that a duo with defiant energy, catchy riffs, melodic savvy, and unique style could captivate as much, if not more, than a large complex ensemble, both live and on record. Mastermind full multi-instrumentalist and vocalist Jack White and minimalist drummer Meg White crafted a sound greater than the sum of its parts, inspiring artists from multiple genres. Corin Tucker, who was a columnist for Sleater Kinney, said this. They had an insane chemistry, and Meg's playing was an incredibly instinctual, hypnotic, and unique. We all knew they would be famous. In the highlight reel, it was John C. Reilly, Olivia Rodrigo, And Beck, who spoke,
Yeah, John C.
Meg,
Riley. When I saw him in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he was wearing the exact same getup he was wearing for the fucking AMAs.
the Americana Awards or stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? It looked like he didn't have time to change. He was like, all right, we got how much weeks before the Hall of Fame, so I don't have time to change or whatever. So Jack was the only one who was there. Meg didn't attend, but she did ask Jack to leave to give a message to the audience. Um, Obviously, he didn't perform his stuff. Olivia Rodrigo did a tribute song, and of course, it was the fucking opening song from Napoleon Dynamite. I could tell that we're gonna be friends, and I can't even listen to that fucking song without thinking of.
I
Do
can
you know
tell
the
that
You
we
know
are
the
gonna
opening
be
credits
friends.
scroll on Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah, it's been a
That's all I
long
could think of
time.
right there. Just like this. And then, oh wait, you know what I mean with that. And then,
Yeah,
of course, we had 21 pilots doing Seven Nation Army,
I thought that
which
was
I
a very
thought
interesting performance. I liked the masks, I guess you could call them, that they were wearing.
I was just waiting for them to fucking show their faces.
Yeah,
I actually did not like the masks. But and then
I thought it was pretty cool.
the lead singer for 21 Pilots, I did feel like he was way too fucking quiet. I could
Yep.
hardly hear him. But then, of course, dude, it's Seven Nation Army. What do you expect? It was basically more than their magnum opus. It was, I think they said it was a rallying cry,
Yep.
if I remember correctly. So, but what can I say? White Stripes, man, they are still a cultural phenomenon. And considering that they are from here in the upper Midwest, being from Detroit, Michigan, dude, like they're among the many names that put Detroit on the map because there was Kid Rock, there was Eminem, White Stripes. I can't remember. Oh, D12 also was from there. But then, of course, with the rap, what do you expect? It's Detroit. All right, but White Stripes, I think, was the one rock band from Detroit. So they were, in my opinion, I think the band that could be like, hey, hip hop does not have to come out of Detroit. It does not have to be just hip hop. It could be rock and roll too.
All right. What's after the White Stripes?
I am getting that right now. Just give me a moment.
Uh, Nice push.
Right. Next up is Lenny Waronker, and he was awarded the Ahmet Artigan Award. It was in the highlight reel. It was Mike Mills, REM, Paul Simon, Michael Austin, Randy Newman, and Gary Clark Jr., who ended up speaking for him. This here is what the article statement says on the website. Producer, label president, A&R head, and tastemaker Lenny Waronker pioneered the artist's first approach in the music business, prioritizing creativity and development over quick financial returns and commercial hits. He redefined the role of the record label, shaping DreamWorks and Warner Brothers into musician-friendly collaborative havens. Significantly responsible for the careers of Randy Newman, Ricky Lee Jones, REM, and Minnesota's very own Prince, he elevated pop music in the culture. Dwight Yoakam was quoted to have said, Lenny showed that the really timeless producers don't make their own record. They make the artist's record. That's the key to recording music that becomes part of the listener's lives. I think that's a great statement right there.
Yeah.
If you have a producer who's willing to let the musician be themselves and do more work, then you know that it'll come out great. Heck, just imagine if they had Lenny Waronker, if Pink Floyd actually had Lenny Waronker work for them. Their music still would have turned out great regardless, though, you know.
Yeah.
So, Lenny Waronker, he was at the ceremony. He was there in the front row, but he did not give a speech. Instead, he left a video message. And you could tell in his face that it was really sinking in, like getting to be part of that experience or getting the honor of being among the all-time greatest producers, dude. It really meant the world to him. Okay. Now we're going to go back to hip hop with Outkast for our next entry.
Yeah, that was the one I was referring to earlier. That was the other hip hop group that got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, even though it's not rock and roll.
Right? So they were
Nothing against their
inducted.
music, once again. It's not rock. But it's in the
Yeah,
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
right. They, they should have just had, yeah, I was going to say, like, either they change the name to Music Hall of Fame, otherwise just have Hall of Fames for all the genres. But then if they had,
Yeah.
like, multiple Hall of Fames, dude, then you wouldn't be able to tell what's what. Otherwise, here's what they do. They have a different Hall of Fame for, like, every genre, and then the Music Hall of Fame will be the main umbrella thing for where the greatest of the greatest would go to.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that.
All right, so they were inducted by Donald Glover, who I can't remember was somebody who they collabed with or was one of their closest friends. But here's what they said about them. In bringing their vision of the dirty South to hip hop, Outkast significantly broadened the genre's palette. Relentlessly innovative, Atlanta's own Andre 3000 and Big Boy concocted a unique blend of funk, soul, jazz, rock, and Afrofuturism, weaving in compelling storytelling, delivered with astonishing vocal skill, embraced critically, and wildly successful commercially. They are one of the few hip hop acts to win the Album of the Year Grammy. Their cultural influence is incalculable. Now, remember, the reason why they say that was because at the time, I think before Outkast came into the picture, the hip hop industry was dominated by the West Coast and the East Coast, Los Angeles and New York City. And so they were able to make a statement saying, hey, it doesn't have to be from the East and the West. It can be from the South too.
Yeah.
I do not see any quotes. Oh, wait, actually, I did find one. Never mind. Okay, so Janae Monet said they're legendary. Artistically, when you look at Outkast, they always push something new. You got the roots of funk, but the way they did it was super innovative. In the highlight reel, obviously they had Usher, Pharrell Williams, Janae Monet, Killer Mike, Andre 3000 and Big Boy, Ludacris, and The Brat. Speaking for them. They did both attend, and when they accepted their awards, they even shouted out Jack White, which I thought was really nice. You know?
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, it was just Big Boy who performed. Andre 3000 didn't. But in addition to Big Boy, they also had Doja Cat, Tyler the Creator, Janae Monet, and JID doing tracks. They did the songs Put Your Hands in the Air, Miss Jackson, Hey Ya, and The Way You Move, which I believe is their magnum opus song. And then there were two other songs that I don't even fucking know what their names were again. But I know when I saw Tyler the Creator's performance, I was like, dude, slow the fuck down. I don't even understand what you're saying, bro.
That's the I love it when people in rap do that, when they go super fucking fast.
Right?
I
Here's the
love it when they do that.
Yeah, Tyler the Creator, dude, he's a very unique, interesting guy. Didn't he almost not look like a hip hop version of Steve Urkel?
Did I do that?
Yeah, did I do that? And then he said whatever he fucking says on there. But yeah, obviously, Hey Ya is one of their biggest hits, but the song The Way You Move, in my opinion, is their magnum opus song. And the only reason I know that song was because of the fucking Shark Tale video game I have for PlayStation 2.
All
You know? And of
right.
course, they had to play that song during one of the fucking dance levels that was basically the bane and kryptonite of my existence because I couldn't get past them goddamn dance levels. I literally had to have one of my sisters fucking do the level for me. All right, so I'm gonna quickly grab another beer. You go ahead and say whatever you want. I'll be right
I
back.
am going to go grab a beer too.
Actually, okay. You know what? While he's doing that, I'm gonna distract you guys a little bit because, like I said, we may not actually need a break after all. So, what's a cow with no legs? Ground beef.
Ground beef.
What do you call a cow with three legs? Lean beef. And what do you call a cow with two legs? Yo mama. Don't have a cow, man. My boy Bart Simpson even knows what the fuck I'm talking about, people. Uh, Yep, but ladies and gentlemen, I do hope that you guys are enjoying what I'm bringing, my musical expertise, or whatever is of it. Yeah, it's the one thing about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, ladies and gentlemen, is that it's always been questionable because there have been like performers and musicians who obviously don't really should not really deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, but I know they have a criteria like you have to have like a certain amount of records or albums in your discography out and you have to have like maybe 30 plus years experience. I don't think
Why?
I believe aside from Metallica, I don't think I know anyone else who has been inducted like twice or three times. Metallica was inducted twice.
Why was six afraid of seven?
Huh?
Why was six afraid of seven?
I don't know.
Because seven was a registered six offender.
I fucking hate you. I'm gonna grab my other beer. I'll be right back, people. You say whatever the fuck you want.
All right, so this is my new rosary. I bought myself and G Money a new rosary. And oh, looks like we don't have time to pray the rosary. Maybe next time.
Ah, shit! My fucking screen. I need to fix it. It's loading right now. Give me a moment. All right, did you see me black out at all on your end?
No?
Okay, yeah, but some reason I accidentally hit my computer monitor and the plug-in just fucked on me. My cat's a fucking whore too, by the way. I really gotta get him spayed, dude, but I ain't got the money to pay for it. Oh yeah, now we're cooking, people. I should be a bartender. Heck, dude, look at me, dude. I look like I could be a bartender at Timberlake. Be with my
Yeah,
boy
like
there who be with my work with my boy who works in the bar at Timberlake. He almost looks like a Magnum PI or 007, you know?
some dude, you're
Oh.
sitting at bar, like cleaning the fucking counter with a cloth or something. Some dude comes up, like, yeah, my wife I just got a divorce. My wife's taking everything. You just look at her and you say, suck it up, buttercup, get the fuck out.
Jesus, dude.
I won't be
Okay.
having none of this at my fucking bar.
Okay, we are all set to go. The next entry is Soundgarden, dude.
Ah. So
Soundgarden, bro.
let me tell you a little story, all right? The thing that got me into my singing, my favorite thing to do is singing, you know? The thing that really got me into singing was when I was a kid for Christmas one year, my parents got us all Rock Band for the Wii, which you can sing, you can play the drums, and you can play the guitar on it. And I always sang, and that's what got me into singing. And one of the songs on there, and it was a Soundgarden song, and you guess what it was?
It was Black Hole Song, dude. Just get to the fucking point of this
Yep,
story.
Black Hole Sun. It's one of my favorite songs to sing on there was Black Hole Sun.
Not right. Well, dude, it's their magnum opus song. Even the guy who inducted them said it was their magnum opus, and it was
Wasn't it Jim Carrey that inducted
Jim
them?
fucking Carrey, dude.
No, one thing I like about Soundgarden, they're not afraid to do stuff that other people don't. They have written a song in 15/8, which is pretty fucking cool. I've written a song in 15/8, and I think it's a pretty good song.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know Jim Carrey shared a story when he was inducting them saying that when he was hosting SNL, he insisted that Soundgarden be the ones who be the SNL performers when he was hosting, or
Yes.
he would not show up. And he got his wish. And he said that Chris Cornell gifted him a Fender Telecaster that was signed by all of the members. Well, after
And
that show.
yeah, we were watching that, and you turned as soon as you said that guitar, you turned and told me like, dude, that's got to be worth a lot of money.
Dude, it probably is, especially when it's all five
Yeah.
original members. Or I think it was just four of them, because I think it was Hiro Yamamoto who I think left the band or was fired. I can't remember, honestly, at that point, but it's got to be worth a lot of money. It's probably worth a lot more now that they are Hall of Famers.
Now, out of all the inductees in this uh in this program, I think Soundgarden was the most deserving of their induction.
No shit, dude. Especially when they were among the pioneers of the Seattle grunge movement, which I'm going to get into in a second. Here's what the statement says. With their pioneering fusion of punk, metal, and experimental edge, Soundgarden kicked off the Seattle-based grunge movement, breaking ground for Nirvana and Pearl Jam, among others. The first of the genre's bands on a major label, they achieved global success with the aggressive Bad Motorfinger and multi-platinum Emotionally Deep Super Unknown, which in my opinion is their magnum opus album. Their reputation as an untouchable live act with compelling, radio friendly albums broadened the possibilities of modern rock. Here is what Tom Morello, then the guitarist of Rage Against the Machine and guitarist of Nirvana of Audioslave, said. Soundgarden redeemed hard rock music. They combined nuanced, poetic intelligence in the lyrics, but unapologetically kicked your ass with rock and roll. And dude, you can credit the legendary Chris Cornell for that. He is
Yep.
he is without a doubt one of the most passionate, charismatic, inspirational vocalists out there, man. He had that certain sound in his voice where he has it quietly but very, very firm, and then you hear his signature screech during some of the choruses and some of the songs. And I remember where I was when I heard the news that he took his own life, man. I was in St.
Yep.
Cloud, dude. And I remember when I first saw that news report, I cried, and then I put in my headphones on and I played Black Hole Sun. And you can tell that, and I'm going to get into this in a second, that even all the four surviving members even mention him, which we'll get into in a second. Basically, in the highlight reel, it was Tom Morello, Lizzie Hale of the Hailstorm, Jerry Cantrell, Chris Cornell in an archival clip, Kim Thial and Matt Cameron also in archival footage, and Russia's very own Geddy Lee all speaking in it.
Hmm.
And who accepted his Hall of Fame award on his behalf? His daughter. I thought it
All
was
right.
I thought it was really nice right there, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was really cool. And his daughter actually performed his music.
Yeah, she looks really good too. Like, damn, Chris Cornell
Hmm.
did a really good fucking job right there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember when it came to that part that show, dude. It was like she's really fucking cute.
Yeah, yeah. Even then, dude, I don't know if she's a musician, but if she wants to get into musician, she can. I believe she could do well with that, man. She is really terrific with the singing, man. So
All right.
right after that, it was Jerry Cantrell, Mike McCready, Brandy Carlisle, and Taylor Momsen who joined the surviving members of Soundgarden to perform. So at least we did get a performance by the members of Soundgarden right there. They obviously
Yeah.
did Rusty Cage, which is a great tune. And of course, dude, Black Hole Sun, dude. And
Yeah, boy.
here's the one thing that hit me, dude. Brandy Carlisle, who performed Black Hole Sun, she's an Americana folksy musician. So for her to be able to even do rock music it's unfathomable. All the surviving members did attend, which I really did like, dude. Hiro
Yeah.
Yamamoto, dude, I know he mentioned Chris Cornell, dude. You could tell he was starting to tear up. He even mentioned, like, you know, a backstory about his family because his parents did immigrate to America from Japan during World War II. And his parents were among those who were relocated to, they weren't exactly prisons, but
Oh
they
yeah, yeah,
were
yeah,
like,
yeah. Yeah,
they
it
were
was like,
like in
well,
World
they
War II,
brought them
they
into
had
like these old,
concentration camps for those of
yeah,
Japanese
yeah,
descent and
during World War
Japanese
II.
Americans. So you could tell that it did stick for a long time. So that was like kind of a backstory right there. And it was the same for Kim Thiel. He also mentioned
Yep.
something. I can't remember what he's mostly of actually, but I know he mentioned something about his family's backstory too. Um, they're mostly from India.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a little bit of a good backstory right there too, you know. And even then, like all of the members, dude, they spoke highly of Chris Cornell, and you could tell that his absence there really hit him hard, man. It really hit all of them pretty hard. I mean, what do you expect when you had someone who you knew for as many years as they did suddenly dying on you? What do you expect the reaction's going to be? I even heard um I actually want to also mention this. Let me quickly look it up one more time. Soundgarden did announce a while back that they did make a out of court settlement kind of thing with Chris Cornell's wife about like releasing some of the final music that they recorded together right before Chris Cornell died, and they're supposed to be releasing a new album.
Awesome.
But whether or not that's going to come soon, it remains to be seen, you know. But I do hope that something does get released because this could be a final chapter kind of thing of Soundgarden. Um, his
All right, so what's after Soundgarden?
just quick thing, quick. It was his daughter Tony Cornell along with Nancy Wilson paying tribute to him by doing the song "Fell on Black Days," and I thought she did a good performance there.
Yeah, I did too.
So next up, they ended up doing like tributes to all those who passed away, and I thought I was gonna read all of them, but I just decided I'm gonna save that for when I do a tribute thing, because at the end of the year, I am planning to do like a tribute video to all those who passed away, who were in the music industry. I know that Brian Wilson's face was the last one that appeared on that tribute thing. Ozzy Osbourne obviously was first. And Bruce Springsteen did do a snippet talking about him. And then Elton John did a tribute to Brian Wilson, singing the song God Only Knows, which is from Pet Sounds, which was an album that we covered before when Brian Wilson passed away. I need a Tum, dude. I'm getting some fucking heartburn here, yo.
Yeah. I need a beer. I'm starting to sober up.
What are you talking about? You're never sober, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? Alrighty, so next up is Carol Kay, who ended up being awarded the Musical Excellence Award. I believe she was the one who worked with Frank Zappa, if I remember correctly. It was, let's see here. In the highlight reel, it was Kathy Valentine, Brian Wilson in archival footage, and Quincy Jones who spoke about her. Here's what it states. Though rarely in the spotlight, bassist Carol Kay shaped the sound of American pop music. As the bedrock of the 60s and 70s LA studio scene, her distinctive touch redefined the bass as both rhythmic anchor and expressive counter-melodic voice. Her work proved invaluable to over 10,000 recordings, including iconic hits, film scores, and TV themes. A pioneering woman in a male-dominated field, she significantly elevated the role of bassist. Oh, here's what Gene Simmons of Kiss said. He was quoted to have said, "People thought it was an African-American gentleman playing bass on those records, but there was a short Jewish woman doing that." I honestly don't know what to say about that, but I think it's somewhat okay. It's somehow cool that that it's someone who's Jewish doing bass work, you know? I honestly have no other response to even say about that.
Oh, there we go.
What's up?
I think Carol Kay did play with Frank Zappa on his first album, Freak Out. Personnel. Never mind.
Or I can't remember. Yeah, I know she did work with something on one of your boy, the Zappers music.
Yeah, I don't know. I swear one of the fucking musicians said assisted Frank Zappa on Chunga's Revenge.
Yeah.
But I'm not
Otherwise,
finding any of them on there.
huh. Well, I know that they were showing some of the albums that on one of their works for some of their works, and it was one of them. I think it was Carol Kay who worked with Frank Zappa. I can't remember if she also worked with David Bowie too.
The one that worked with Frank Zappa worked with David Bowie. I can't remember on what album though.
Yeah. Well, either way, we're going to get to the next one, and it's Cyndi Lauper.
She definitely deserved the spot in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
You know what?
Very influential female musician right there is Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah, and
you would not have Lady Gaga or any of them if we didn't have.
She influenced my girl Lady Gaga right there, man. You want to know what the funny thing is? So obviously, I know you're not a wrestling guy, but just a quick word: Cyndi Lauper was the main reason they started incorporating music into the WWE.
Really?
Yep, because Cyndi Lauper was a huge presence at some wrestling main events. So she did lay the groundwork there, but not only that, but she also was even though she is not gay, she was a huge voice for the LGBTQ plus community.
Yes.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like when I looked at her, like you would assume that she is, but that's not the case. It's just how her fashion is. That's how
Yeah.
fashionable she is, you know? So she was inducted by Chappelle Roan, and this here is what the quote says on the website. With a 4-octave voice, quirky glam style,
Octave.
and what?
Octave. Sorry.
Um, well, whatever. And defiant individuality, Cyndi Lauper shaped the 80s and beyond. Her debut, She's So Unusual, yielded 4 top 5 hits, while her wildly popular videos mixed humor and vulnerability. Constantly evolving, she enjoyed a spectacular second act with a Tony-winning Broadway score for Kinky Boots. As a steadfast LGBTQIA plus advocate, Lauper is an enduring icon, influencing artists from Chappelle Roan to Lady Gaga, man. All right, here's what Dua Lipa said about her. She's so unusual, was a multi-platinum declaration of independence and an important statement about the right of women to define themselves and their place in the world on their own terms. So they were basically kind of like Salt-N-Pepa. She was like Salt-N-Pepa in some way before Salt-N-Pepa, but she wasn't rapping. She was being herself, a rebellious youth,
Yeah.
kind of a woman. I think she was in her 20s when she started. So obviously she did perform, and she was joined by many in the highlight reel. It was Sam Smith, Lady Gaga, Billie Eilish or Billie Eyelash, Alicia Keys, who spoke about her. She performed her 3 songs, Show Your True Colors, Time After Time, and Girls Wanna Have Fun. She was joined by Lady Gaga, Avril Lavigne, and for the last song, Salt-N-Pepa, dude. So I thought that was kind of nice.
All right. And then next was it Joe Cocker?
Yeah. God damn it. No, it was Chubby Checker who was next, man.
Oh, Chubby. I thought it was Joe Cocker and then Chubby Checker. My bad.
Yeah, it's all good. But dude, I'm surprised. I was actually surprised that Chubby Checker's still alive, man. I thought he would have passed
Me
long
too.
ago. But then, of course, dude, his whole entire thing was kind of short and whatnot because he's in his 80s. He can't do a whole lot, which is understandable. But
Yeah.
he did perform The Twist, which is his biggest song. Here is what the stuff says right here. Just give me a moment. Oh, I had to push out quick. She could. Born Ernest Evans in Spring Gully, South Carolina, Chubby Checker became the king of the 60s dance crazes, with his iconic The Twist reaching the #1 spot twice and sparking a worldwide multi-generational phenomenon. Checker parlayed that unprecedented success into further hits like The Fly and Limbo Rock, hitting the charts 32 times before 66. He brought rock and roll's audience beyond teenagers and remained active into the new millennium. So, you get bands and musicians who are from like that era of the 50s and 60s, and some of them are kind of scarce, honestly, like some of them are starting to go away. Like, for example, The Who had a farewell tour. They're done now. The only ones who I know who are still going from the 60s is Bob Dylan and the Rolling Stones, and that's it. Then
Yeah,
I believe
to
one
quote
quick
Billy
thing.
Joel, U2 Sigmund Rhee, Paola and Kennedy, Chubby Checker Psycho, Belgians in the Congo.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, man. Yeah, in the highlight reel, it was Dick Clark and Chubby Checker, and along with Dick Clark and Chubby Checker both spoke in it, and Chubby Checker, he wasn't there. He was actually like doing like a show or something like that. But he did have the award, and he looked good, dude. Even for his age, dude, he still looks good, man. And then, of
Yeah.
course, he played a little bit of the twist and actually was even doing the dance, man. Like that's awesome, man. Like Chubby Checker, kudos to you, man. You're my favorite one who I enjoyed in that. Like he had that
Excuse me.
spark even for like how old he is, dude, he still has that spark in him, dude.
Yeah,
And that's something you could respect.
he's in his 80s and he can still dance better than I can.
Yeah. Even probably better than me too, dude, you know. All right, let me get a sip here quick. And finally, to conclude our lineup for the class of
Joe
2025,
Cocker.
Joe Cocker. I know what you're thinking. Cocker.
Cocker.
Anyway, he was inducted by another staple in music, Bryan Adams. In the highlight reel, it was Billy Joel, Chris Stainton, Steve Winwood, Stephen Van Zandt, Rita Coolidge, Randy Newman, and Jimmy Webb who spoke about him. And here is what it says. Sheffield, England's own Joe Cocker set a new standard for rock interpretation, redefining classics like The Letter and, with a little help from my friends, not the Beatles version, with his own indelible stamp. Gifted with a powerful, gritty voice and a fearless, impassioned performance style, his reputation as a riveting performer lasted decades. As a recording artist, he repeatedly reinvented himself, never leaving the airwaves. He was awarded an OBE in 2007. I can't remember what that stands for. Let me look quick. Order of the British Empire. So it's like one of them high honors, like if you were knighted.
Okay.
Which I'm surprised is even still a fucking thing, even in 2025. Here is what Billy Joel said about him. Joe was the most powerful rock and roll interpretive male singer I had heard since first hearing the iconic early recordings of Ray Charles. So it was the Tedeschi Trucks Band, Nathaniel Rateliff, and Teddy Swims who performed Lonely Days Are Gone and Not Feeling Too Good Myself. And then they were joined by Bryan Adams and Cyndi Lauper for With a Little Help from My Friends, which I did feel was a great finale to end the ceremony with.
Yeah.
You know,
Then at the
like
end of the ceremony, didn't like everyone join in for this one fucking song?
not everyone, not even a
Just
lot of
about
the
everyone.
other Hall of Famers. Like it still was a good lineup. Like the Tedeschi Trucks Band, dude. I love the Tedeschi Trucks Band, and Nathaniel Rateliff, I love also, dude. Like I
Okay.
thought it was honestly a good finale to end with a little help from my friends, you know. And not to mention, I don't think I ever saw any band have two drummers performing, dude.
Oh, you haven't listened to the album Thrack by King Crimson.
Did they have two
If I
drummers?
remember that, three.
Dude, don't you think
Wait,
that's
no,
a
no, 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 no. It was two. It was two. It was two. It was two trios on their album Thrack.
jeez.
For some
That
reason, I
is a
thought it was
whole
three
lot
drummers for
right
a
there,
sec.
man. That is a lot indeed.
Yeah, so two drummers, two guitarists, and two bassists.
Yeah. Right before we conclude this, there are some mementos that have been enshrined in the Hall of Fame, like featured artifacts from some of these people. And here, we're going to start with this. This here is a tambourine that Paul Rogers used on tour with Bad Company, including their One Hell of a Night tour in 2016. Andre 3000 wore this outfit, which is a green shirt with suspenders and green and blue flannel pajama pants. He wore this outfit in the 2003 Hey Ya music video, which was inspired by the Beatles' The Ed Sullivan Show debut. That's funny. I watched the Beatles performance in that show, and they were wearing suits. They were wearing tuxedos. Okay, so next up was Warren Zevon wearing this promotional jacket, which is a red jacket, for his Excitable Boy tour in 1978 in support of the album featuring the hit single Werewolves of London, which is his magnum opus song, in my opinion. It basically has Excitable Boy. It's pretty much, I think, the artwork from the album cover or something like that. All right, so Salt & Peppa's Grammy-nominated hit Push It was paired with a dynamic music video in 1987 featuring the group in these custom jackets, which are basically a collage of a bunch of things. It has yellow, red, you know those drama masks that have the smiley face and sad face?
Yeah.
It's on the right side of their jacket, and their sleeves are like half, like 3/4 white. So the next one, this autographed 2014 Squire Telecaster features the signatures of Paul Rogers, Mick Ralphs, and Simon Kirke of Bad Company. It's a shame they didn't have Boz Burrell's signature on there. This, I think, might have been right after Boz Burrell left or something like that. I could be wrong. Or actually, you know what? This was in 2014 when they were doing their 2016 show, actually. So obviously, Boz Burrell wouldn't be there because he had already been dead by 10 years at that point, sadly. Oh, this one here is actually another good artifact. This 1982 Grammy Award was presented to Joe Cocker for Best Pop Performance for his duet with Jennifer Warnes for the song Up Where We Belong. So to have a Grammy Award in the Hall of Fame, dude, that's insane. All right. Chris Cornell of Soundgarden played this 1979 Gibson Les Paul Custom primarily in 1989 and 1990, most notably at the College Music Journal Awards. So, yeah, it's a really old guitar, dude. And finally, Chubby Checker sported these signature boots, which are black and blue checkered textured. And these were his signature boots he would perform while dancing the twist during numerous concerts throughout his whole career. And those are all the artifacts. So, let me see if there's anything else here. Nope, that is everything, my man. Alrighty. Final thoughts. You know, despite the Hall of Fame like having its fair share of criticisms and controversies, you know, some of these people and names that were included in this year's class did deserve it. For some of them, it's been long overdue. For some of them, it was well justified. And I can't wait to see what next year's will be.
One of these days, I'm going to get into that fucker.
I'll be sure to be ready to announce that. If anyone's going to be doing the induction thing, I have to do it. And you know what? And when you do the award acceptance, you have to take out 2 beers, and we'll just be like, "All right, cheers, man," because that's also our signature right there is the beer. So,
Yep.
Alrighty. So, anything else, man?
Nope, got nothing else.
Yeah, I'm surprised, honestly. I didn't think it would be a short podcast, to be completely honest with you, but it was. So, ladies and gentlemen, I guess thank you all so much for watching today's podcast. If you have any thoughts about who should have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, subscribe to the Roger Radio Show if you want to see more music-related content and podcasts where we talk about whatever's on our minds. And while you're at it, if you want to see extra content from us, subscribe to El Gallo Productions and subscribe to the Interrobang group as well. We got some plans for some videos that we are going to do on them channels, so we're going to see what happens here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in. And as always, until next time, ta-ta for now.
Peace.